Kashmiris all over the world observe 27th of October as Black Day. On this unfortunate day in 1947, India landed its troops in Kashmir and illegally occupied the princely state. To give its illegal occupation legal colour, India lied in the United Nations, claiming that Indian Army had occupied Kashmir for restoration of peace and future of Kashmir would be decided by the people of the state through a free and fair plebiscite. However, this Indian promise could not be fulfilled even after a lapse of 70 years. For the past 70 years, Kashmiris are fighting against this illegal Indian occupation of the state, holding protest demonstrations, knocking the doors of all international fora. United Nations has passed over 18 resolutions on the issue of Kashmir, but none of them could be implemented. Over 800,000 Indian troops have been deployed in occupied Kashmir, who have been brutalizing the Kashmiri populace for demanding their inherent right to self-determination. Kashmiri's genocide is continuing without any let-up, and tens of thousands of Kashmiris have been killed, their houses destroyed, while rape and torture of women is being used as a tool of war. Eyesight of Kashmiri youth is being snatched through the use of Kashmir-specific pellet guns.
One of the most dangerous weapons being used against protesters in Kashmir is the pellet-firing shotgun. A number of people have been killed and thousands injured by shotgun pellets since July 2016. Many people have been partially or completely blinded. And I am urging the security forces to completely halt their use of this inaccurate and deadly weapon during crowd control operations.
The horrific tale of Kashmiri's woes is very old, as at the time of partition, activists of Rashtriya Sevak Sangh and the army of Maharaja started killing harmless Kashmiris, which cannot be explained through words. The army of Maharaja gathered tens of thousands of Kashmiris with the promise to send them to Pakistan, but they were massacred at the banks of River Tavi and their bodies were thrown in the river. In the incident, over 500,000 Kashmiris were butchered, and since then, this inhumane butchering of the Kashmiris is continuing unabated. According to the statistics, since 1989, 95,147 innocent Kashmiris have been martyred by Indian occupation forces, out of which 7,115 Kashmiris were killed during custody. 144,957 have been arrested since 1989. Over 109,073 shops and houses were destroyed. 22,887 women have been widowed by killing their husbands, and 107,735 children have been orphaned by the Indian troops. 11,096 women have been raped by the Indian troops. In the name of Operation All Out, Kashmiri's genocide is being committed in the occupied Kashmir. Kashmiri youth are declared terrorists and picked from their homes. Later, they are martyred in fake encounters and buried in nameless graves spread over various parts of the valley, or their dead bodies are thrown on the sides of deserted roads to terrorize the people of Kashmir and force them to distance themselves from the freedom movement.
One particular Indian law gives security forces virtual immunity against prosecution for any human rights violation. The report found that in the nearly 28 years that the law has been in force in Jammu and Kashmir, there has not been a single prosecution of armed forces personnel granted by the central government.
The question arises as to who will come to the rescue of the hapless Kashmiris. Definitely, this is the responsibility of the United Nations and the world powers to pressurize India to stop this genocide. But unfortunately, due to financial and trade-related interests, they are silent spectators to the illegal occupation of India. During the past 7 decades, India, in its effort to justify its illegal occupation of the state, has adopted many tactics. Every now and then, India stages the drama of sham elections in the occupied Kashmir and gives the impression that elections were substitute to Kashmiris' right to self-will. United Nations and the world community is fully aware of the real situation in Kashmir, but their silence is a big question mark. Under Article 35A of the Indian Constitution, non-Kashmiri cannot purchase property in the state, nor can cast vote. No non-Kashmiri can get Kashmiri's identity card or passport. Even today, over 80% population of Kashmir is Muslim, and this fact is the biggest hurdle in the path of India. During the past 70 years, India has been running away from the promise of the plebiscite as it fully realizes what will be the verdict of Kashmiris. India adopted several tactics to overcome this hurdle. Separate colonies for Pandits, planned to construct colonies for families of the Indian Army personnel deployed in Kashmir, reconstruction of Hindu ashram in Kashmir, and attracting Indian government servants through various incentives to work in Kashmir are some of the ploys adopted to change the demography of Kashmir. But so far, none of these could deliver the dividend. Now, through a conspiracy, it has been planned to abolish Article 35 of the Constitution, which grants Kashmir a special status. First of all, a countrywide campaign was launched through the hardline Hindu organizations, and then a writ was filed in the Supreme Court to get the article removed from the Constitution, proceedings of which are continuing nowadays. Incidents of custodial killings and extrajudicial killings have further increased as the army personnel have no fear of law. The most unfortunate aspect of this situation is that the Indian occupation forces have denied entry of human rights organizations and their activists in the valley to cover the gross human rights violations at the hand of Indian Army and security forces. Even Kashmiri's religious rights are usurped as they are not allowed to offer Eid and Friday prayers, with the freedom-loving Kashmiris take to streets on the call of Hurriyat leadership. Whenever funeral of the martyred Kashmiris' youth are taken out, tens of thousands of Kashmiris throng and give clear message to the Indian Army that they will have to quit Kashmir. Every Kashmiri hates Indian occupation forces, and time is not far off that India will have to quit this paradise on earth. The United Nations and the world community should get up from their slumber and play their due role in grant of Kashmiris their birthright of the right to self-determination so that they can decide about their own future, as this is the only solution to this long-standing issue and durable peace in South Asia.